Yo guys, what is up? It's your boy JadeJonny back here with another video. We're doing a new series. Wait, what did we decide on the name?
The Spirits podcast.
We're doing it live.
I thought it was still the Spirits. Was it still the Spirits, or like was that the meme?
Yeah, Spirits. Yeah, Spirits podcast.
Okay, cool.
Doing it live. Keep going.
So I've got Moxie, aka everything ELESTRALS, and I got Words TCG.
What's up?
I don't know.
We're doing it live. Keep going.
Keep going.
So basically, I don't know. What's the time period for this? Is it weekly? Is it bi-weekly? Is it like?
It's whenever we can do it.
It's whenever we can do it.
So basically, whenever we can get 3 or more Celestial YouTubers in a call at one given time, we're going to have massive amounts of just like conversation, discussion, and everything Celestials related inside the video. We're gonna have Captain Red. We're gonna have Magic Moolah. It's gonna be a big event. But you're gonna have to follow all of us on our YouTube channels. So you're gonna have to go subscribe to Moxie, Warts, Captain Red, and Magic Moolah, so that you guys can stay engaged and see these uploads when they come out.
This just means that you have to link both me and Wirtz in this video.
You're
the only one that
If there's a card, do the card thing.
Yeah, is there a card?
I actually don't know how to do the info card, so but
There's one button.
It's the thing we can show you later.
Just sub 100 YouTuber things. We understand it. Not you.
Yeah.
You guys are taking this whole too seriously.
Cards, editing.
I don't know what any of those things are. I just kind of like talk into a camera and scream about how you should subscribe to Moxie. And I guess
Step 1 for editing. Ready? Oof, done.
Yeah, done.
Not gonna lie, literally how I edit my videos.
Yeah, but
right.
So
what are we talking about today?
So I guess the first thing we could jump into is the first thing on our list is the proto deck meta. And why because we're all,
I don't know what the
yeah, I mean, because we're all in the chat right now, like talking competitive, and we're going over things in Discord, and people are talking about competitive in Discord and stuff too. So it's like we are playing in a vacuum, first off. So how is that with everyone? How does everyone feel playing in a vacuum?
I feel like every deck is irrelevant with the exception of Fire, and I'm not enjoying it.
Well, I don't think every deck's irrelevant. Because I think Fire does have the answer. Decks as is, without the additional 12 cards we're getting, Earth does stand up to Fire because it has the removal, because the prototype Fire deck is about attack aggro, and Earth has enough response to attacking. But those 12 cards will shift it, I think, towards a little bit more of the burn strategy, making that a little bit more difficult to deal with. But then we don't know what the other 12 cards for the other decks are. So
yeah.
Oh, guys,
I think
I forgot to hit start recording.
Oh, did you actually?
No.
I was like, huh?
That'd be about the 7th time I've done that, though, so.
Oof. Little
When I played against Creo, I should have hit recording too, but I didn't.
No, yeah, I think like right now, right? So we're sitting in a meta where aggro is kind of the deck to,
yeah, it's like
Yep. And like control is very much just not where it's at.
I think a huge part of it is every single deck only comes with like 1 Shield of Achilles. It only comes with like 1 or 2 Gorgon's Gaze.
Yeah.
Like you don't have any defensive cards. So like I think like just you're rewarded by the simple fact that the decks aren't constructed with a defensive playset in mind.
No, yeah.
Well,
and like
there's only one control deck.
Except
the rest of them are like Earth is control, Wind, and Thunder, and Water are all mid range.
I would say
they're I think they're poorly constructed mid-range, and then Fire's aggro.
I wouldn't even say Earth is control, because Earth has like a lot of aggro, and then it has a mid-range section. I don't.
Yeah,
I would say
Earth may not have control, but it has.
Like if it had Pindison, I would 100% say that it was like. But we don't have Pindison in the.
Well, I say the way Earth plays right now, I definitely see it more like, not control, but being able to manipulate the board state better than the other decks.
Yeah,
so,
that's fair.
Yeah. And then I would say in all purposes, Water would be the most control based.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because it takes forever to set up, but once it does set up, it's really nice.
Also
but it takes so long to get there.
Also, it has the ability to change positions in mid combat via Tsunami, and then it also has the ability to bounce back runes. It's just very powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
then
think it's just very mismanaged with the initial release of it, with a bunch of burn cards and
Here's
two foamies.
Here's a bunch of cards that say special enchant a card from your deck. By the way, all of your cards have only their effect upon normal enchanting.
yeah, only effect normal.
That is
Yeah.
like
And then
literally the biggest issue.
I would say electric and wind are like mid-range type of decks.
Wind has the possibility to go just super aggro hard, but it's so fragile because you could run out Stratamoth turn 2 like extremely consistently in Wind, but that also means if they have an answer to Stratamoth, you just spent 7 to get Stratamoth to get quaked for 2.
Or just pumping out that Surcoon turn 1,
or
and
even
then, like, just to have it like
Fire has Quake. Why did Fire get Quake?
That's what I'm wondering.
Because Fire best deck. Come on, I mean, like he saw Triff and he was like, we need to ramp this. We need to give it power. Let's do it.
I mean, it's the same with like Lightning, right? Like with the Stratamoth idea, you just boom bat it.
Yeah.
Just call it a day.
Yeah. Well, Lightning's getting another boom bat in the list, I believe, in the 12. So it's like.
And I think Fire.
And Red's getting. I'm pretty sure getting another eruption.
I think we're getting another Earthquake in Fire, actually.
I hope not.
Yeah, and you're also getting a shield in Fire and a poison tip in Fire. You're getting a control package in Fire, and you're getting 2 eruptions.
Listen,
so you can shift it to a control.
I've been telling everybody I slid Dan 10k, and now he's helping me out. I don't get why nobody believes me.
But there's a control package in the additional 12 cards for Fire and 2 more eruptions. So you can make it a control Fire deck if you want to. It's there for you.
I can basically build the deck that I've been using against you guys for the last like 2 days.
Yeah.
And like with just the starter deck Fire stuff, with the exception of the ELESTRALS package. Like
and that's what's terrifying. I think is like a lot of the decks that people are playing right now, because they're only playing prototype cards. With the 12 cards that we're getting for Fire, you can straight up build some of the decks people are playing.
Yeah,
which is good.
I mean, that's great. That's terrifying, but it's great.
It's great, but like you said, it's great, but it's terrifying because
we also have to keep in mind though, right? Lightning is getting the Rhino Boy,
which is so good.
So good.
It's gonna nerf Fire, like in general. Like
it's gonna stop. It's gonna halt Fire, and then there's also
because we do still have 2 Earthquakes in Fire now.
No, yeah.
So I mean, it's not gonna halt,
but we're also getting cards that we haven't even seen yet, according to Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So we're getting 2 Rhyceroses in the Thunder deck.
And we still don't know if we're getting Pandison and Earth, which we might be getting Pandison and Earth just because.
I don't know if we're gonna get Pandison.
I feel like it's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but even if we do, like, does that really help Earth?
Yes.
Nah. I mean,
with the prototype decks.
Yeah.
I don't think
Earth runs Ambrosia right now, so like it would at least
2 Ambrosia and 2 Chalice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay.
I guess.
And then it has
but running 2
too,
Pandison and 2 of those.
Yeah, because then you're like hard, like then you're going definitely for the I'm just gonna outlive you.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to kill you, I'm just gonna outlive you.
Yeah, and it's a mid-range late game deck, so I mean, yeah, like it makes sense to play for that out.
I guess, but then if you go up against Fire and they're just like, cool, I'm just poking you.
Yeah, but I mean that's when you play Tictoros and you're just like, hey, out it.
And then Fire plays Valkyries and Hephaestus and goes over your Tictoros.
Yeah.
Fair.
Or they just play their 2 shields.
Which they're gonna have 2 shields.
They're gonna have 2.
I love Dan. I really do. I don't get why he did that. Like, as a Fire main, I don't get why he did that.
I mean, I really hope each deck gets 2 shields. Shield is one of the cards that I think is gonna, even after the Kickstarter, is gonna be a staple.
Well, no, I mean,
there's no reason it's.
Every single instance of Fire that we've seen, right? It isn't a defensive deck. There shouldn't be any defensive plays in Fire, with the exception of maybe Wormite, because Wormite's just.
I mean, okay, so technically speaking, my Apple deck is control based, and it's primarily Fire.
There's a Fire control pack. Like Leonite's a great control card.
Cinder.
You have the Arachne. The thing that has the Rhyceros effect on it is a defensive card.
Yeah.
Kindleo is both defensive and aggro.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically,
His hammer protects from celestial effects. That can be defensive and control-y. Like,
realistically, though, I mean, like, what of those cards are you actually playing in Fire? Like, unless you're going for like an actual just lockdown effect.
Leonite, 100%.
Leonite and Kindleo.
Like I guess in like the pre-con,
Yeah.
the prototypes. Yeah, I guess I did
Leonite,
that.
Kinleo, you throw those two in, and it's just like, okay, well, let me just ascend to my Leonite, and you have no counter runes in play because we're playing the prototypes and not enough counter runes in play. You have almost no answer on the board now.
Yeah, but you're not playing Fluarachne. I mean, like, Fluarachne's just not. It doesn't have the offensive pressure that you need for a fire deck. I mean,
No, because
no, but if you're
Fluarachne
trying
costs
to
2.
adjust the fire deck to do the control fire thing, because maybe that's good enough. We don't know until we actually try it out with the prototype vacuum.
and I mean, even
But
then,
like, it might be good enough. Like,
I mean,
7 defense is okay.
I mean,
And you might be able to practice it with like a Leonite as well. I mean, this is all theoretical, but
Yeah, it's
we don't know.
hypothetical.
But it might be good enough.
I mean, and then again, how many 2 costs do you realistically want to run in such an aggressive deck?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
because
that's
like
actually
we saw
point.
like with my build, right? I was running 2 Blazerists and I was constantly drawing into them. I mean, realistically, do I want to have 3 2 costs in my hand at all given points in the game?
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. I've seen a lot of people in their custom decks running 3 of Centaur, 3 of Imperial, and I just look at like,
Why?
that's way too many.
Especially
I know.
Centaur, where you can search it out via September's effect. Like,
It's the same with Stratomoth. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
sure, if you're going for the like, Nimcoon shenanigans, I could see you
You
running
can only
2.
do that twice though.
Yeah, I could
You
see you
don't have
running
enough-
2.
you don't
Yeah, you
need
don't
to
have-
run 3 Stratomoth.
'Cause I know in my original video going to the boss rush, I'm like, oh, you always run through Shadowmoth because even on your path to get Stratomoth, you can get. But now it's like, now that we see how the game is played properly, it costs 7 to get Stratomoth out with the Nimcoon Ascension path.
Yeah, and unless you're
Which-
running like 3, just 3 Ambrosia right off the gate.
Or
and then,
rather-
like,
It costs 6. Sorry, I'm thinking of the AOList to grab the Nimbug, but still, you can only really do that realistically 2 times before you deck out
And
of
the-
your
Yeah.
spirit.
And the worst part is it requires you to do wind. If it required you to do earth, you could always make the argument for, oh, I could run Demeter and I could run Demeter Scythe. But like
Yeah.
the fact that it requires you to expend wind very specifically, wind doesn't have a way to get those back, or at least not
Yeah,
easily.
except Ambrosia,
Yeah.
which there's. Hopefully we get one. I would honestly like to get 2 Ambrosia into Wind deck at minimum, and then I think it would have a little bit more staying power.
I think in general, like it needs to get 3. You have to get 3 in the wind deck because of the fact that you are expending so much. I mean, I don't realistically.
I mean,
see
yeah,
2 being the
where it's
answer.
like me and you played, and you went to like 8 life on turn 1.
Yeah, my mono Wind deck.
So-
Now,
Yeah, so
I will
mean,
say, so
realistically
that is a
speaking,
huge risk reward deck, where you
Yeah.
just kind of have to hope your opponent doesn't have an answer, which is a terrible way to play. But at the same time, from that deck, you find out that Wind has like such insanely good tutor effects to find what you need in a
Yeah.
given moment. Like, it's like, oh no, I can't get past this. I'm gonna go get my Sorlet and turn it to defense position, knock something out. It's like, okay,
you
I'm
have
ahead on
runes, I'm gonna
board.
go grab
I have a
Pegasus,
Glysdale in hand. I'm gonna go get my Arrowmare out so I can build my own boss monster with Glysdale. Because Glysdale, if you get the Arrowmare attached to it, is so resilient because it
It
can only be
is.
hit by counter runes. I think
I
it is.
still say, I will die on this hill.
I will
Those
die
2
on this hill, too.
cards are so bad.
I am 100%
We're talking prototype vacuum here.
Moxie
Even
and-
after
Moxie-
the prototype.
Moxie
vacuum.
and we agree on like half the things. This is one thing we both agree on. To
Like
the point
the
of,
reason
like,
and the
death.
reason why I say this. Okay, just to go off topic a little bit. Arrowmare only affects Glydesdale.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
if even if it's at any wind Elestral,
it would be 100% objectively
it'd be
better.
so much better.
Like
Yeah,
if
really,
the
only if it slides
if
down.
the empowered
And-
Arrowmare transferred over when you ascended, it would still
that
be
too.
so much better.
And then on top of that, on top of all of that, what Arrowmare says you can't be affected by what Invoker counter runes.
I think it can't be targeted by.
I thought it was effects in general.
I think it just can't be targeted.
Cool. Shield.
Yeah, there's not that many shields flown around right now, except in fire.
Everyone's
Everyone's gonna be playing
everyone's gonna be
fire.
playing it at 3.
Like, what do you mean?
Cannot be targeted or destroyed by runes.
The meta
Runes?
is
Okay.
fire.
So yeah, even then, right? Like I boom bat it,
Boom bat.
I shield it, I Leo it, that's why I'm like this.
Wormite?
Even that, yeah, I wormite
Wormite
it.
matches. That's fair.
So it's like the reason, like it's a very interesting and unique interaction between 2 cards that I hope to see going forward into the rest of the set.
But better.
But better, one.
Yeah.
And 2, I think that, with that uniqueness, with so many things right now that just say no, there's no reason to run that in a win deck unless, and specifically unless, you can get that out by turn 2.
Right. Well, if we're taking the win prototype deck and we're trying to make it more consistent, I think we're going to be adding, the Aramir and Glisdale. I believe Dan said that there's going to be another Glisdale added to the win deck just for consistency. Some of the cards in wind right now are just so, like, there's Tornado, Pigus, and like there's like 9 cards that destroy or bounce runes, and you don't need that many. So if you want to add some attacking potential, you might still add that. Like even a Glisdale is a 7/5 for 2. Is okay if you need the beater because wind has no beaters.
Yeah,
in that prototype deck. The only beater in prototype deck is Glisdale.
I will say
you'd run the Aramir to help the Glisdale out.
I will say Glisdale. I don't think you're running the Aramir because that's just a dead card. 9 times out of 10.
I mean, it's a 4/5.
So
if you have Arena out, it's a 5/6 that defends itself.
What I will say is the stat line of Aramir as a 1-drop is really good. So if you're playing strictly for the tempo, and you're not really worried about the effects, if you're like basically what I'm saying, guys, is if you're okay with having a card that is a normal monster, like no effects.
Yeah. I mean, for 1, it has the highest combined power and toughness at 1.
Yep. Yeah.
Than anything else in the game.
But the same argument can be made for running Glisdale. I mean, like Glisdale is a 12 for 12/5 on your turn.
Yeah.
On your turn.
But it outs Valkyries, it outs Taurus, and on top of that, it's a 2 cost, so you're dealing at least 1 damage if you're doing it in response to the attack.
The thing that like hurts me with that card is that it's a 12 on your turn. That's the key word there, right? So I can tsunami, I can shield, I can
poison tip arrow and then pop it on.
I can arrow, yeah. So because I might not destroy it, but it'll go down attack. And so it's like...
or you can Gorgon's Gaze it and just negate it.
We can gaze it, and just negate it.
You know, that card that's super powerful.
I hate you.
I'm staring at where it's on the thing.
It's sideboard. I'm still in the sideboard card.
I agree it's a sideboard card, but I
wish we got sideboards.
Let's actually talk about that, because I guess we could talk about that for the proto meta as well. Yeah. Sideboarding and mulliganing.
I love the mulligan roll.
Let's talk about that.
Mulligan is closer to be existing, so we'll talk mulligan first.
I was super concerned about the mulligan rule when I first heard about it, because I was like, well, red is so oppressive, I genuinely think it's a bad thing for the game. But like after playing it, for one, as a red player, getting to choose my hand was really fun.
And I think,
if you have a dead hand and you know you're going against like your basically just burn face deck, you have a dead hand, you know you have to trade it out. Like losing 2 to actually let's explain the test mulligan rule. So at the start of the game, after you look at your hand, you can choose to expend 2 to put them back in your deck, shuffle, and draw a new 5. So you start at 18 spirits with 2 in your underworld.
And keep in mind at this point you will have to selected who goes first and who goes second, so you will know if your hand is for first or second.
Yeah, so like at the start of the game, like after the first and second player have been decided, you can expend 2 spirits from your spirit deck and mulligan your hand. Now, this isn't a normal mulligan. So in trading card games, you would draw before you shuffle. That's not what this is.
Wait,
you put your... Yeah, so a normal mulligan... It depends on the trading card game you're playing.
Wait, I thought it was a normal mulligan where you shuffle and then draw.
It depends on the game. I think it's pretty 50-50.
No, I mean in Elestrals, I thought it was a normal mulligan. Is it put it on board?
You shuffle the cards back and draw 5.
You shuffle first.
Okay, so it is a normal.
Yeah. So, you shuffle your hand back and then you draw 5 cards. Now, if you get pretty much the exact same hand, you get a crap hand again, and sucks to suck. Can't do it again.
Yeah.
Can't mulligan again. So
but you also, if you got that bad hand and you're going against Burn and you have no Ambrosia, and if your opening hand against Burn is like 3 Nogs and a Panda, you're shipping that because you can't afford to lose 6 off the rip. So it's better to go to 18 and have a chance of finding answers. And who knows, maybe you draw a Sluggle in your next hand. You just get those 2 right back and you go to 19.
Or Quackle.
Or Quackle.
Yeah.
So the mulligan rule, I think, is pretty effective for all strategies. Just to like, okay, let me ship my hand because I can't win with this hand. And or if you're playing like an okay hand, you're playing Burn, it's like, okay, I can try to keep this. It adds dynamics.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, like at first, like Johnny was saying, like I was worried. I was like, that's just gonna make consistent decks more consistent.
Yeah, and especially with a 3 Pot of Greed in every single deck, like it's just I was like, this is going to make it to where I can pick and choose my hand.
Yeah.
I don't think Nog's as good as Pot of Nog is nowhere
not as good as
near
Pot
Pot
of
of
Greed.
Greed.
Dude,
Nowhere near Pot of Greed.
If I have to stab myself in the face to draw 2 cards in any game, I'm doing it.
You say that until you have 4 Elestrals or 4 spirits in your spirit deck.
I have been down to 3 spirits in deck and I still pogged. Like
sometimes you need to really dig for an answer, and you do it at 3 because you know your out's boom bat and you win. But if you're at like 3 or 4 and you're playing against any deck with eruption in it, you cannot use that Nog.
Yeah.
If you're going against you know, the Airfire custom deck
if you're
that
at 3 or 4, if you're at 3 and 4 and you're worried about eruption, you want to use that Nog because then with that Pog, you're wanting to use that Pog because you're
it's not Pot of Greed.
You're wanting to use that Pog because then you're digging for the answer. Otherwise, they're just gonna eruption you. You're gonna take that 3 and you're gonna go down to 1 or 0, one way or the other. It's better that you look for an answer than to just say.
Yeah, if you're trying to find an answer, you rip it. But like at the same time, if you're playing against, you know, the just expend deck, well, if you're at like 12 or 14,
by the way, I saw that,
and it's turn 1 or 2, you might not want to use that Nog because you might just end up burning yourself out with it.
Yeah, so
especially with how like you have to both spend resources to play the game and not spend resources to survive a burn deck.
Yeah,
you really have to think about what you're casting, and I think that's what makes Nog not like this S+ tier. I've been cutting out of decks where I'm starting to run 1 or 2 in my decks because
I think it's also a matter of
getting dangerous to use.
I think it's also a matter of like player preference as well, because I mean, like if a player's a more aggressive player, they're wanting to draw those cards to get that early game aggression. Which I mean, like Wirtz is a more tempo based player. Moxie's a more control tempo.
Control.
Yeah.
Control.
I like memes. That's really it. I just go for memes. Like, that's literally it. I play Leo Lock. Like.
but that also brings up a point, right, with the mulligan rule of like, because the resource that we're getting rid of is our life and what we play cards with. Like getting rid of 2 at the start of the game that sucks.
I mean, it's better. Again, it's still better than having a dead hand.
It's literally a 10th of your life, but then again, I mean, like if you're opening with like, you know, 3 Pandora's box and 2 Gorgon's.
Yeah, if you're just opening. I mean,
like then like I mean, I would rather at that point mulligan and just hope for a better hand.
Yeah.
I mean.
All right, and then let's talk about sideboards because we all have opinions on sideboards.
100% needs to be in the game. 100%. Right. Like I don't know why Dan is like so like on the fritz about it. Like 100% needs to be in the game, right? We have so many cards like Pandora's Box, Gorgon's Gaze. Both of them do very specific things in very specific situations. We have cards like Thunderstorm, which are only relevant in certain matchups, which should be in the game. And I really think that we should be able to tech spirits into our sideboard as well, so that we can go like, okay, well I'm gonna throw in 2 electric so that I can run 2 Thunderstorm in my deck, and like, you know, there's 4 cards. That
I don't think spirits should be in part of the sideboard thing. I think that's part of what makes constructing your deck interesting, because you don't want like let's say you had a 3 spirit sideboard, and in that 3 spirit sideboard you run 3 tsunamis for the aggro attack decks. Like and you're not playing water otherwise.
You're just switching a deck.
I mean, like I mean, like realistically, what are you playing in your side deck? Like Pandora's Box,
Gorgon's Gaze. Extra room, like if you're going against, like let's say you're playing against Leo Lock, you're worried about Leo Lock, and you'd play an extra shield in your sideboard.
I mean, you're already running 3 in the main. You should always be running 3 shield in the main, in my opinion.
That's not necessarily true.
I don't think that's necessary, because you also want 2 poison tips, maybe. Like,
because like I know, for example, like with my discard deck, right? Like I only run 2 apples because, and here's why: I only run 2 apples, and the reason why is because that apple makes me discard.
That's fair. That's fair. But you have
you can run out of gas with it.
If I can see that my opponent is playing a super slow, control-based, build up your hand type deck, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna side into my other apple. I don't care about my hand.
And there are so many games that I played against Moxu where that apple just snipes a card out of my hand.
Yeah.
Especially against my ramp deck, where I'm expending 3, like I'm playing 3 cards on turn 1. And he'll just go, okay, I'm going to apple you and then shield your Majesty back to hand. It's like, okay, well, there goes my other Tadpuff that The only reason I ran managed to see out so fast is I knew I could get it back from a shield, and now I can't do that.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I've
So-
literally been telling everybody, I'm like, Apple's so S tier, and nobody's believing me, and I'm just like, you're gonna lose to an Apple one day, and you're just gonna cry.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
what is going on?
I've already lost to Apple.
You're just gonna,
Yeah.
you're just gonna tag Dan in the Discord and go,
I've
like, this
lost
card is
Apple
busted!
from the mill. I've lost to Apple from mill and from it just sniping my answer out of my hand.
I really
It's a
think,
good card, guys.
yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
I really think people are sleeping on like the power of discard a card.
I'm not.
Yep.
I'm loving it. I have
He's
built
just
my
waiting for more to
foundation.
come.
With,
I'm
like,
just waiting for my support.
even Keith was like, oh yeah, no, I'm running electric because I don't want my opponent having a hand, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
like literally the next
Yeah,
deck I'm
Spark
testing
it?
is
Hell yeah.
electric. Like
Spark it's cool.
Yeah.
Spark it and Kinleo? Yeah, I run the Cat Brothers.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think like there's definitely a specific amount of cards that will go into a sideboard for specific contingencies, and it is weird. Dan, I know you watch some of our videos, so that's why we're kind of addressing this like this. But like,
Flip this.
yeah, clip it. It is interesting, the kind of I wouldn't say fear for a sideboard, but just like not wanting it, because look at every trading card game that has ever existed ever. They all have sideboards.
No.
Besides the ones that are dead, Johnny.
Pokemon has no
Pokemon
sideboard.
has a sideboard.
Pokemon has no sideboard.
And
What?
it
Pokemon
had
had
one
it.
for a bit.
It had one.
Pokemon
I
has
don't
no sideboard.
believe
And then,
VGC is there.
I don't. I don't believe like
I don't
current
think they run it
competitive
anymore.
uses it anymore.
And then,
But at one point in time, Pokemon did have a sideboard.
and then Dragon Ball
Yeah.
doesn't have sideboard, and Dragon Ball's like super a lot. I mean, like literally the only games with sideboards right now are literally Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Force of Will.
Okay, Force of Will's dead. You just said no dead games. Come on.
Oh yeah, Force of Will's dead, but it still has a larger community than most indie games.
But
Okay,
yeah,
that's
in
fine.
my opinion though, a sideboard helps a healthy metagame because, again, if you have a deck that's super oppressive, like just expend face,
Yeah.
and it can be shut down
It's so fun.
by Gorgons and Pandora's Boxes, which are cards you don't run normally, then I
Yeah.
think those cards should be in a sideboard to answer oppressive decks. Because now it's that deck will get maybe game 1, you have a chance to win game 2 and 3, but they're still gonna be up 1 because they had that
Yeah.
focus strategy that can get countered. So it helps metagame because now that deck can't really be oppressive, and you have other decks can kind of come in. I think what Dan wants is for the decks themselves to be built
Yeah.
in a way that can counter all the different various strategies.
Well, also,
But then you're running one-ofs that are dead cards a lot of the
Yeah,
time. And it
that's what I'm
that
saying.
struggles.
Is like, so a lot of the cards like Pandora, Gorgon, stuff like that, where it's like very situational. My fear is that once we do get into a place that isn't in a vacuum, you're not running those cards.
well, I mean, also you got to think about it. Like Dan, he's already stated he wants this game to be super balanced. I think admitting that there needs to be a sideboard admits that certain decks don't have a good matchup against other ones.
That's
and
true.
like, I think that he's trying to avoid that until like future notice. I definitely think our final rule set is probably going to include it because I mean like rock paper scissors is just a matter of card games. It doesn't matter what game you're playing. You're always gonna
Yeah.
play. You're gonna always gonna have rock paper scissors. I mean, Bird
But
will,
the
Bird
sideboard
will always lose the
takes
life
that
game.
rock,
Bird-
paper,
I mean,
scissors. And
Yeah, the sideboard takes the rock, paper, scissors and turns rock to beat rock, that beats scissors, that beats paper, that beats scissors, that beats
your
rock.
Yeah,
sideboard
but I
takes your like 80% chance to lose
I think-
versus a matchup to like a 60-40.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think with Dan's mindset, because like I mean, like he's already said he wants this game to be super healthy for competitive. I think he's trying his best to keep the cards as balanced and as close as power
Oh
level as
no,
possible.
yeah.
So I think
No,
like
he's doing a
admitting.
pretty solid job.
He's-
Yeah,
it's
no, I
pretty good.
agree. I mean, especially with the erratas that he's like pumping out the second we bring a concern up. I mean, like literally Gorgon's gaze, he errata the wording to remove all the confusion about that because now it says you can't re-enchant. Which Wirtz and we got in this huge argument and discussion.
It wasn't an argument. It was a debate over how the rules of the game work because they weren't specified.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a super comprehensive rule book. We
Yeah,
have
it was
the
the
how
same
to
with
play guide, not the comprehensive.
it was
Yeah.
the same with Shield with me and Words, where it was like.
I mean, that we
does-
just read. It's like, wait, it doesn't say target. Hey,
It doesn't say
Dan.
target. Does
But
this
what to do?
target?
Your guys' was like
It
a
does
lot
target.
easier than ours though, because
Yeah, and then we just go,
came in,
Dan,
he was like,
does shield doesn't target. What's it do? It's like, oh no, it just bounces the attack. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't say target. It's negating an attack and bouncing the creature as a side effect. That makes sense.
where ours was a matter of like, at what point does the Elestral actually become enchanted, and at what point
Yeah.
can Gorgon's gaze
At
actually
what
target
point
it?
does an ability trigger?
There
Is
was
the
just
ability
so
connected?
there was just so many different phases of the ruling Like I
This
genuinely,
is what happens, everyone, when you play Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh for 20 years.
I play
Yeah.
like
I mean, this is
literally
we're
every card.
playtesting the game to find
Oh.
these stupid little pedantic things out for Dan. So, as much as like Keith was ready to kill us in that call,
Yeah.
it's going to be healthy for the game because now it's like, okay, here's an issue with the game. Here's the most complicated interaction in the prototype deck. Fix it, please.
I feel so bad for doing that to Keith. I'm not gonna lie, because like
Oh, no, I mean-
Keith doesn't know all the rulings to the game, and dragging him into that was like probably literal hell for him.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't watch my videos, so
What does it do?
I can be as nice as I want to Keith right now, and he'll never know because he doesn't watch my videos. So.
But I guess that can kind of lead us into the community balancing of things with like the erratas and stuff.
Yeah. No.
Let's talk about like Trifernal and Stratomoth and Majesty.
It was a meme. It was a meme, and he nerfed it, and I don't get
Well,
it.
Not even that, right? So they nerfed it, and then we all realized that the boss Elestrals just aren't really that good.
Like,
Oh no, they're great.
They're good.
There's
just
no way to
don't
get
get
them
on
out.
the field, yeah.
Getting them out and safely.
Getting them out is the hard
issue.
part.
like the best one by far is Majesty, and that's only because of the fact that Poseidon can
Because
grab
it's
it
water.
out turn 1. Yeah. Like,
I also
if it was
love-
literally
time out.
anything else.
I also love, and I will eat my words comment section, where I was like, blue is garbage. Majesty is trash. Dan goes, okay, hold my nectar.
We saw-
Freaking erratas.
He's errata at Majesty like 5 times now, and I love it.
It's
we
like,
saw
oh my
water.
God.
We saw water and said, okay, water's really strong, but not having the third foamy and Majesty feels bad. And then Dan's just
Yep.
like, all right, Majesty's good now, and here's your third foamy. And we're like,
Yep.
Okay,
Oh.
but water's still
we're
trash.
not worthy.
Yeah,
But
we are
water's
not
still
worthy.
trash. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Dude, time out.
Water,
All we are
Prototype
saying,
water is trash.
prototype water
prototype water is slow.
is a lot slower than I would like it to be. However, if you can get that Majesty out,
Yeah, no, it's a
because the only deck that runs multiple shields is fire.
Wait, but it can only be not targeted by Elestral.
Celestial effects, and then you
So-
have-
Celestial
and you
effects.
have
And
three tridents.
you play 3 Tridents, and you have
There's three
Poseidon.
tridents in the deck.
But
you have two
Trident-
Majesty and 3
but
tridents in the
Trident-
deck.
Trident
says you
protects
can
it from
target-
counter runes.
Yeah, so Earthquake.
That's
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Fine.
And I mean, like, you can always P-Gust and then use
What?
its effect.
Oh,
to
what
pop
deck runs
Trident.
Earthquake? Fire, which already has Kinleo, so it's already a bad matchup, and Earth,
Earth.
which is a really Earth is a pretty good matchup for water, except for the Earthquake.
Earth has no sustainability, and water wants to play on the
But yeah, so it's like yeah, if you can get Majesty out, let's go.
Also,
while
we're
Even
talking-
Caprigal is pretty strong.
Capricorn's pretty good too.
While
Caprigal
we're-
does a lot of work reanimating.
While we're talking about trash boss monsters, can someone explain to me why September gets rid of the artifact instead of like bouncing it back to its hand to summon Centaur? Like the
I don't
entire
know.
point of the deck is to like search out.
It's okay, and
Scythe,
the reason why is because that's balancing. If you got
Yeah.
to keep that damn Scythe and get Centaur, that's stupid.
Yeah,
And
but
imagine
every
going
other
into
deck, their
custom-
boss monster does something so it just plays off of the other one or has some benefit
Right.
from the other one.
No, okay, but if you play Scythe, right, and you play September, so you have 2 on September, 2 on Scythe, you have 4 on Centaur right away. So
Yep.
you can pitch 1 right away to shoot something.
Yeah,
Now, the other option
I mean you
is
can't.
if
You
it goes
can't
back
do it
to your
'cause of the
hand,
battle phase, but yeah.
if it were to go back to your hand, what if that artifact is like Trident or Hammer of Hephaestus and you're playing like 3-color? It would just be like, okay,
Yeah.
now that I have Centaur out, let me just re-enchant with this crazy artifact combo, so now he can't be. You have fully forced, can't be hit by Invoke, can't be hit by Counter, can't be targeted by Celestial Spirits for almost no cost because
Yeah.
your original spirits go straight to Centaur.
Yeah, you just play artifact. You just play artifact Earth, and then
And we see how fast that my Leolock can turn on with Trident and Hammer of Hephaestus on like turn 2 consistently.
Okay.
Imagine that now with Centaur.
To be fair, I have never seen you resolve that.
I have
The Leolock?
Four times.
Via my
Every
game.
single game I played against Moxie with my Leolock deck,
Yeah, but like,
I've resolved it. When Moxie
You're
played my
also-
Leolock
but
deck,
also
he
keep in
resolved
mind-
it.
yeah,
keep in mind though, Johnny, you're also playing like a super aggro deck.
yeah, no, it's definitely high roll. Like,
Yeah, so
I don't
it's
think
like
I played Leolock against Johnny yet. I did against his aggro deck.
you've played it, but you haven't been able to resolve it. You've gotten halfway there, but you would always miss Leo. You would never have Leo. So you'd
Yeah.
get like the entire full combo with the exception of Leo on
But,
board,
I mean,
and-
but that's the saying, right? Like if Centaur bounced the artifact back to hand, keep in mind it would specifically say artifact, so you would get if a nymph if a nim is attached to it, that's a whole other type of like
That'd be
interaction.
hilarious.
Do you get that in your hand?
You get your opponent's.
Do you get your opponent's card?
That'd be
Right?
hilarious.
If
you find a way to do that.
I genuinely think I would be okay with this.
Like that's what I'm trying to say. So like that'd be not no. That'd be bad.
I just think it's weird that you like have this huge build up with the artifacts and like everything relating to the artifact, and then it's just like, okay, send it to the graveyard.
Well, because and the reason why typically what I think the outcome was thought of is you play Cinderbur, you have the Scythe on it, you kill something with Sadenbur, you get Scythe effect, and then
you do get the 2 back to your deck.
And
yes,
you get
and
to
then
save the 2 from the artifact to Centaur.
I see what
yeah,
and
and
you
then you Centaur and you attack again.
Yeah. Which honestly, I think if we're not going to allow Triff to come out in the battle phase, we shouldn't allow Centaur. But you know, that's a
I
conversation
agree.
for another
No,
day.
I completely
That's
agree.
right, too.
Like, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Triff is definitely a much lower powered effect than Centaur. I mean, like.
Yeah, and then also it's like I've played a couple games where I got Caprigal out during combat, and just okay, now that board's clear, here's my 2/3 Foamy that I just special enchant. Okay, now Foamy hits you for 1.
Yeah.
And it's like, or Foamy can run into something, so I can get some other body to be defensive or some shenanigans. Like,
I love that that's considered a special send, because then you could just jank with it. It's fun.
yeah, I mean, I think there are some cards that should come out during battle phase. Foamy during battle phase is a weak little beater that you already have to have them cleared on the board to do something with. But like Centaur and Trifernal, I think should come in end phase so that you can't be like, all right, September, and now I'm going to attack you for 4.
I genuinely also think that Foamy should be allowed to be able to choose the position in which the card comes in.
No, I do not.
The way it works, the way it works, it has to be defense when it summons another one, and it has to be attack when Caprigal summons it. Is just helpful for balancing.
Is good.
Wait,
because then you can
what's your man, I don't get it.
You can play Foamies into just death.
Yeah,
that's what you can do.
Yeah, that's the point.
Like you
it's
could
like
just
no.
I mean, if I run Foamy into my opponent's unit, I mean, unless you're talking about like the potential for crashing, but then
here's a future scenario.
Comes up with crashing. I mean,
here's a future scenario that could break Foamy, right? If there's an Elestral that had a trigger when an Elestral you control was destroyed in battle, and you played 3 Foamies, and you ran your 3 Foamies back to back to back into something, that's abusable depending on what the trigger.
So and on top of that,
come in defense is a future proof.
On top of that, also, if you have Atlantis on field, those Foamies get +1 attack.
Yeah, so they become 3s.
Yes. So those are 3s. Right now in the meta that we're in, the vacuum meta, that's a lot. That's a decent bit.
Yeah, and what if you had Tsunami face down, right? So now you crash something, have a Foamy and attack, Tsunami before the next attack, and then attack like a Sorlet in defense with your new Foamy.
Yep.
Like, let's say you're playing against like Thunder Wind Control, and you run your 3 Foamy.
Yeah,
into,
so you attack with Foamy,
or Nymph Up, right? Or Amp Up for 3, and they crash and they trade, and then you Tsunami their Sorlet and hit him with a free Foamy.
Yep.
Like, granted, these are niche situations, but like stuff like that where a Foamy kills like a Blazarus in defense.
You had me on the whole entire like future proofing thing. You didn't need to keep going.
Oh.
Well, Foamy's a great card.
Foamy's a good card.
Foamy's
That's
great.
what we're trying to say. Yeah, no, I agree. Foamy is like definitely an S tier card.
Foamy Tadpuff. Those are the A team for water.
Yeah, no, agreed. 100% agree.
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of like A tier cards, let's talk about our top cards and top worst cards. Since this is going on your channel, Johnny, you go first.
All right, so obviously I am legally obligated to. You guys might want to deafen real quick. Trip best deck, let's go! Obviously, legally obligated to say that. I mean, like, I genuinely don't think that I'm allowed to do anything else. Next up, the pizza card. Love it. I don't know what else to say. I think it's called Thunderbolt of Zeus, but it's a pizza card, so it's like.
I'll reskin the TTS mod for you. Thunderbolt of Zeus will just have a pizza picture on it.
He's pizza.
I love your words.
See if we can commission Bex just to do like a pizza staff.
Her hand's still recovering, so I'm trying not to commission.
Sadness.
Yeah. And then I don't know. Like the last one, I probably have to say Pandison, just because the community was so involved with it. Like I genuinely think the Pandison is probably the last play.
Pandison is a very
And it's good.
versatile and good card.
Well, I mean, like
It's
just
great.
yeah, not only from its effect wise, but just like how it was created. I genuinely I just love it. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Moxie,
You want to go words, or you want me to?
Well,
you're the
okay. I
top
mean, if
person
you're
on
gonna say
Discord.
Triff, I'm gonna pick apart Johnny real quick before we go. Like Triff, the card itself, Triffernal, is
It's
bad.
garbage. Yeah, no,
It's so bad. You
Art.
it's just the meme. I'm just legally obligated to say Triff at this point.
Yeah, like even if you run, the full, like if you run 3 Blazarus and your whole thing is, I'm gonna go against water and kill all their foamies Blazarus to get no, it's bad.
Yeah,
Like
no.
maybe you run the one Triffernal for the, oh no, I need to break a 12 attacker or
Dude,
something.
I remember
if-
before we knew how this game was played, and I looked at Triffernal.
And we were just like, oh,
This
it's
card is
so
so
I mean,
good.
I
broken.
I said Triff was the second worst, and Majesty was the worst because I was like, this card is just a win more card. From like just looking at it, it's just a win more card.
Yeah, if it hits the board, you're already winning. There's no point in like
Yeah.
like using its effect.
still
and if you do
is.
use its effect,
Yeah.
you're just stabbing yourself in the face, and you're not even killing like every single thing that's played. Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah,
In a lot
I
of
killed a
cases,
Clovey,
you're
big
hurting
deal.
yourself to play it.
Yeah, it's like I killed a Clovey for 1 damage. I mean, like that's so amazing. I love it, right?
Yeah, and then
But-
Pandison is great, and Pandison can get Pandison Ambrosia, Pandison Nectar, and Pandison Eruption, and Pandison Earthquake, and Pandison Thunderstorm has helped me a little bit. Like
Wait, are we talking?
Pandison
Pandison Apple.
everything.
Are we talking favorite 3 cards or favorite 3 Elestrals?
I'm just
Favorite 3 cards.
Cards.
favorite
Okay.
three cards.
In reality, if I were to actually choose something other than Triff, I'd go Aeolus because I just love Joy Boy.
That's fair.
Aeolus is so strong, and
Aeolus is
the more
good.
wind we get, the better it's going to be.
I mean,
Yep.
did you see what I did with Aeolus and a single copy of another card in my deck? Like, it's just so
Yeah.
good.
Well, that's what you do with Aeolus. You just say, okay, I have Aeolus. I have 3 Aeolus. I'm going to run at least 1 P-Gust. I'm going to run 1,
Any P-Gust?
the pig.
Sorlet.
Sorlet. I'm going to run, so 1 P-Gust, 1 Sorlet. Even if you're not playing the aggro deck, you run 1 Exaltair for the endgame situation. You can literally just toolbox all these answers and win.
Run 2 Sorlets.
Oh, let's talk about.
Well, I'm
Exaltair.
saying at minimum, depending on your deck strikes, maybe you're not fully in wind, so you don't have the space to have 2 Sorlets.
That's
You
fair.
run at least one of each of the answers in wind because you have Aeolus to just go, all right, what do I need right now? And you just grab it.
Oh.
If there's a problematic rune, you just go, okay, P-Gust, grab it, play it.
Keep in mind, chat, each of us are different types of players, and each of us have different playstyle preferences. So a lot of us, we're going to disagree on a lot of things, but that doesn't mean any of us are necessarily wrong, except
Yep.
for Moxie. Moxie's objectively wrong.
No,
But
we are all wrong.
Yes,
That's
the
the
thing
end of
about
it.
That's the thing about it, right? Like that's the thing about card games. And just because I've seen a lot of arguments in Discord, I want to make this perfectly clear. Nobody understands or knows the meta of this game. We all have opinions, and we all have ideas. But like right now, and even after set 1, I guarantee you we're gonna see 3 to 4 different decks in the meta.
yeah, no,
We're not-
I genuinely think like even Dan himself is kind of shocked by like the different like decks that have come out, because I mean like a lot of what he said early on, he was like, oh, I don't think Burn is going to be that good, but then we turn around and we see what I'm doing without like the stuff from the main set. We like
Yeah.
with just
Well,
Pandison from the main
Pandison came
set.
out so late in relative to how many cards he's been building. So Pandison makes burn really consistent, surprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, if I stab
Oh,
myself in the
dude,
face for 2,
Eruption, 3 eruptions and a panda in hand.
No,
Johnny,
Johnny triple eruption me, and then the turn after drew a Pandison to hit me again with eruption.
No, Pandison was in my
It
head.
it happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Like,
not
that's-
magical Christmas land.
Yeah, it does
happens.
happen, guys. We've seen it.
Yeah, it's like, and it's super consistent too, because I mean, like you're running, realistically speaking, right? You're running 3 Eruption, you're running 3 Nectar of the Gods, and then you're running 3 Pandison. That's 9 cards in your deck that are part of the combo. I mean, like literally, there's just nothing else to say about it. Then you're running 3 Aeolus and then 3 Exaltair, so you're always gonna have like access to some form of burn at any given point in time. It's like honestly insane. Mine's in the living room. That's not fair. Mine is in the
Mine
living
lights up.
room. Okay, I'm gonna go get mine.
That's not fair. You got the nice $100 one.
Yeah, thank the Helen for me.
Yeah. Dang. We'll get there one day.
Okay, quick,
no,
well,
yeah.
Johnny's not in the room.
Yeah. Triff bad. Triff's so bad.
No, but
No,
continue on his point. Panison is just so versatile. I mean, we all knew going into Panison's going to be strong. The question was how strong.
How strong? Yeah.
And it's not as strong as a lot of us were thinking, because now that we know the mechanics of the spirit deck and all that, it's a little bit weaker than I thought, but it's still really strong.
It's still good. And like also like
And
to
versatile.
in like my Apple deck, I run it. Panderson and Ambrosia is nice.
Yeah.
Okay, excuse me, guys. You guys do know that I have a wireless headset, right?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
We're just talking about Panderson.
Listen,
So
man,
Panderson's a good card.
if Triff
Yeah,
is that
Panda Boy.
if Triff is that bad, then let me just say Majesty's 10 times worse. So, but
It's
yeah,
not.
other than that,
No. Not having protection is so bad.
Yeah. He's just dead on field. I'm gonna turn him to defense mode with a Sorlet. Like, just okay. Pokey.
All right. But yeah, Moxie, you want to do your top 3? You want me to do my top 3?
I can do my top 3. I'd say my number 1 right now, not even lying, just from art and from effect. I really love Apple. I think it's an interesting card. My number 2 probably is like Kinleo. And then my number 3, and I know you guys are gonna meme on me, is Cinder.
no, I love it.
I love
Yeah.
Cinder.
Wait,
We
hold
all
on,
like Cinder here. It's just it doesn't have a home yet, a
To-
proper
yeah.
home yet.
To be
Proper.
clear, guys, before, like when the game first dropped, Moxie was like, "God, I fucking hate this card."
Well,
Cinder?
Yeah.
no, we hate that
Yeah.
it existed in the decks it existed in.
Yeah. When I first saw Cinder, I was like, this card is like what?
You
What?
get-
Why does this card exist? And then
And then it
by
got
the
wrong.
grace of the gods, we got Apple, and we got Panda, and then I realized, oh, we can play Kindleo and we can play Sparkin in the same deck.
And they buff Cinder, so
And they buff Cinder,
And then maybe
so I can Nexus onto Cinder with my Kinleo
Hold
and
on,
make
to-
you mill 3 more.
To be perfectly clear, by the way, the buff that mattered was making it a 3/2.
That I don't think is fair.
It didn't matter.
no
Yeah.
one cares
Yeah.
about the stats.
No
of
one
Cinder.
cares about the stats.
Cinder could be a 1/1 and it would still do the same thing.
Yep.
It's not
it
as a
could be-
1/1, but it would
Not
still do
even
the same
lying for the people at home. Cinder could be a 0/1 and I would still play the card.
It could be a 0/0 and it would still be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I love its effect, and I think right
Well,
now
it's not good yet, but it
Yes.
will be good in the future.
I think
I have
with
no doubt in my
theoretically.
mind that it is like I have no doubt in my mind that Cinder is one card away from being broken.
well, I think the deck that I'm currently playing, like with the Apple deck, it give me like hi kitty, hi baby, give me like 6 cards of discard, and we'll be good.
Yeah, literally just 1 or 2 more mill cards, and you have a more consistent mill win.
Yeah.
So Cinder's good. It still needs a proper home. Like your Apple Cinder stuff is fun, but it's not.
It's not a
Really,
competitive.
it's not
deck.
going to win you the game very often, unless you're
Hey,
probably
man,
playing.
All I'm gonna
what I'm
say
playing,
is
which is slow ramp.
currently, I am the only player to ever get a win by deck out.
Yeah.
I just want
And I
that
was-
to be known.
Is that,
And
is that
you
actually,
And Wirtz
did
was
that
the
with
opponent.
is that
0
actually
spirits
true?
and
Yes,
he did it with nothing left in his deck.
I did it with
and I did
0
it-
spirits.
And I did it. I still had like 2 spirits, and I would have won next turn. And he did it on his very last spirit.
Yep.
Just barely edged me out. I think we killed Johnny.
Yep.
I want you to know
current-
that I ripped open my arm today, and somehow, some way, that was not the most painful thing that just happened.
But yeah, no, like right now, I think I'm pretty sure. Someone in the comments correct us if we're wrong. I am the only person to ever win a game via deck out.
I think I'm also the only person
Prob-
who has built a deck that hasn't dropped a single match.
It depends. I have a deck that I've only played once and won with.
Okay, that doesn't
So-
count.
Yeah, my new
I've
Thunder
played,
Control
7
deck. I
matches.
played 10 games, and I haven't lost once on that Thunder deck yet.
So it depends. I never got the win-loss ratio of
Wirtz, you
decks
trying to get your first
until.
L?
We're ahead of the curve because the 3 of us probably played a lot more than
Oh my
most
god.
people.
Yeah,
So
no,
we're ahead of the curve on what's good and what's bad.
I agree and disagree on
Maybe
that.
this podcast helps people with, you know?
Yeah, no,
who knows?
I genuinely think that this is gonna help some players get into the game. However, I
With
also
that
think
caveat, don't run Cinder yet, don't run Apple yet.
Yes,
We're
no,
still
don't
waiting.
play
We're
those
waiting
yet.
for them to be
and
good.
run
They
three
are good.
run 3 copies of Tri-Infernal. Next
Yeah.
up, we're gonna go ahead
Oh my
and talk
God.
about
Hey, it's try for a reason, right?
yeah, like, you run
No,
3.
but yeah, guys, if you guys want to like play something competitive, not even lying, if you want to play a vacuum competitive deck, play whatever Johnny's playing right now.
I love you guys too.
I mean, it's fair. It does so much damage so fast.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I actually kind of feel bad about because I will have a video going live Monday. I don't know what day this is releasing, but I will have a video going live Monday. It's just the straight up VOD where I made the deck. Like it's just a straight up
Cool.
breakdown with each and every
I'll
single
take
detail.
that deck list any day. Like,
And it'll like give you the explanation as to why I'm running each card and my thought process behind the deck process. So like if you guys are interested in that and like actually understanding why the decisions were made about the deck, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel that you're watching right now. So it's just right below you.
And when you're done subscribing to his YouTube channel, you go to Moxie's. When you're done with Moxie, you go to me and get us all past 100, and we love you for a very long time. And then we shave Moxie's head.
no, that's not what's happening.
Keith did say clear, and I agree with Keith. I mean,
No. No.
I listen, man.
You will all listen. If I have to shave my head, fine. I don't care. You have to deal with her. That's who you have to deal with. You have to deal with like, what are you eating? Why? Don't eat a card pack.
Okay, so we've been this is so far we're at 52 minutes. Words, why don't you go ahead and finish off your 3? My headset's about to die.
All right, so I'm gonna cheat a little bit and put 2 in the same slot, and I'm gonna say Leonite and Sonicore are up there because I think their lock potential is really strong.
So for to explain to anybody who may not know those effects off the top of your head, those are what we call floodgates.
Well, if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player, you call them floodgates. If you're a Magic player, you call them stacks cards.
If you're a Pokemon player, you don't have that.
They're Wailord Mill. That's what
Wailord, yeah,
Yeah,
there we go.
Hey, Wailord Mill made it to like 2nd place VGC one year.
We don't talk about that.
I hate my life.
But yeah, those 2 cards, I think they have a ton of potential for the control decks.
Yeah.
And I really want to try. So I tried to make my Leonite lock work, and it works except for Shield and Tsunami, but it's a water deck, so I can get around Tsunami. I'm working on how to get around Shield right now. Sonicore, there's so much counter rune removal in the game right now. Sonicore is just like, no. So I think Sonicore's up there for potential, and they're really fun to play. Then I think Majesty is up there. I love a Majesty ramp deck. It also has a pseudo lock where you can get just Majesty and Trident, and really just makes it a struggle to interact with. You need your Earthquake then, or you need your Shield to get around it. I really like Majesty. I really like how fast Majesty comes out, and how big of a beater it gets when it comes out. And then I think Panacin is up there too. Like Panacin's just, Panacin is probably one of the few cards that you can say, I don't know what my 40th card is. I'll run 1 Earth and a Panacin, and it'd be okay.
I'm for Takwa.
Vertakwa can be limited because if you're playing Vertakwa into someone's super heavy aggro deck, and you're splashing for it, it can be a dead card.
Yeah, no, I want you to play Vertakwa against the next time we play. I want you to like look at your hand and go like, if I had a Vertakwa here, does it matter?
I think, yeah, it depends. If I'm playing the pig, yeah, it does.
Yeah, no,
I
100% think
great as an aggro tech card to get past the control deck.
I think the
Like,
people
if
are
you
gonna
have
sleep on the pig. I'm not gonna lie.
If you have a blue deck, if you have a deck that's aggro and has water, you run like 1 Vertakwa if you had a sideboard. You'd run like Vertakwa or 2 in your sideboard for the control matchups because they're going to play, their Ash Rabbit in defense position, their small Tuga in defense position, and you're just going to be like, okay, Vertakwa and get rid of it.
All right,
or,
listen, you don't have to call out all the cards in my deck, okay?
Hey, listen, I mean,
or if they're playing Foamy, Vertakwa, boop,
Yeah,
that was
that's
good,
always
but Vertakwa would be a sideboard creature in my opinion. Elestral.
okay,
wording.
so
I guess
let's just go over the worst card that we think there is right now. Let's just do 1.
Imperial.
Words.
My worst card, give me a second to think about it.
I say the stadiums, every single stadium. I think the stadiums are objectively bad.
I don't necessarily think the stadiums are bad.
There's too much removal for power to matter.
So when I say I don't think all the stadiums are bad, I think the good stadiums are probably Foley Forest and Atlantis. Because Foley Forest,
if there are
you
two
have
good,
the
if there
Cent
are two good
Harbor.
stadiums, it is those two, yeah. But I mean,
You have
again,
Cent Harbor to
those two
combo with it, and Atlantis, you have ramp and nexusing like everywhere in the deck.
Well,
So you could potentially play something like, even if you don't get to Majesty with the ramp deck, you can get to like 3-4 water. So you can give something +2/+4 pretty easily with that special Ascent Tad buff combo and an Atlantis in play,
So
which makes a very big creature.
Here's what I do with the stadiums. I abuse the fact that people don't realize that those are considered runes. So I will just misenchant them and not have them get destroyed.
That is fair.
Sometimes you get your Sparkit to 6-7 to get over a blocker.
Yeah.
But I think the only stadiums that you run, like just to run them because they can be good in a deck,
are Foley and Atlantis.
Is Foley and Atlantis.
And even then,
I
Foley,
run
you're
a
only running if you're running Cent Harbor. I don't see.
I run one of the Thunder one in my Thunder control deck because sometimes getting to 6 defense is relevant.
I also think any deck where you're playing the ability to search it out, it could be good, but like I think like the power increase is almost always irrelevant because of all the removal in the format.
Yeah, you're paying one
that's what makes most of them bad.
Yeah.
But that's why the ones that you can abuse, which is Foley Forest with Cent Harbor and Atlantis with like Poseidon and Nexusing, are the 2 good ones.
And again, we're also in a one.
They're not S tier by any means. They're like
we're in a 1-cost world.
Yeah, we're also in a 1-cost format, so like +1 power is almost irrelevant unless you have the ability to wrap it.
Yeah.
All right. So Johnny doesn't like the stadiums. I don't like Zapdos.
What card?
Thunder
What
Moltres.
card do I? Oh, man, what card? Sorry, I got so caught up in the conversation about stadiums that I forgot to think what card I really don't like.
Eruption.
I mean, no Eruption. No, I'm talking like card that I would just like.
Oh,
you know what's really, I've found really unimpressive. So I'm gonna say Bag of Winds, but we know Bag of Winds Dan's already looking at changing, so I'm not gonna say Bag of Winds. Circle the Sky feels really bad most of the time.
Do you remember when we all thought it would be like overpowered just by like?
I don't think so, but I run a deck that utilizes Nexus more than the average deck.
Yeah.
So I think it is one of the few cards. It's similar to like Gorgon and Pandora's, where it is so situational.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's
like I do run some in the Nexus Shenanigans deck that if you guys go to Moxie's and I's game 1, I play Nexus Shenanigans and Circle the Sky, really useful in that deck. In decks that you really need to move around stuff, it's a good card, but there's not a lot of cards in the game that you want to move around stuff with that don't already move the stuff around for you.
Yep.
I think when Dan was telling us about how Nexus was a key part of the game, I really think he overestimated the power of Nexus. Because I mean, like, we don't care.
Oh no! Nexus is really strong.
Nexus is strong.
I think that's
Exaltair. Your deck would be dead without Exaltair, dude. That's Nexus.
It wouldn't. It wouldn't be dead without Exaltair.
Does so much in that deck.
Okay,
it makes it so consistent.
It says so much because I can search it out. If it were for the if I took out Aeolus, Exaltair would be dead.
Let's talk about this one thing with Nexus and how gods are, for most decks, just rune banks.
Yeah, literally that's all they are. They're like, you're not running them for any other fact than that. Like even Aeolus, like when I'm using it to search out Exaltair, I'm literally only doing 2 on it so that I can search out Exaltair and then proceed to Nexus off of it. And if I already have an Exaltair in hand, then I'm only doing 1 at that point.
And like in my opinion, the best like top 5, like going down the list of gods, Aeolus is the best, followed by Poseidon and Hephaestus.
Yep.
And then like down in C tier is Demeter and Zeus.
Yeah, there's again, like power means nothing in this game. So like the ability to reduce or increase your own attack is just useless. It's
almost irrelevant. But they're good banks, so you play them in those colors.
Yeah.
But like
I use it for my Kinleos and my Sparkits.
Like Demeter is more useful for the fact that the Scythe gets the additional recovery. Like.
But then you have to play Scythe, and you're pigeonholed into a weird setup with it, and you might not even draw the other one.
Yeah.
But Aeolus is free tutor, which we all know tutoring is always strong. Hephaestus is an artifact tutor, which can be very relevant because if you play one of a bunch of artifacts, you can get the one that answers what your opponent's doing. If your opponent's doing like a bunch of Kinleo stuff, and you play Hephaestus, okay, now go get a Hammer of Hephaestus. Your opponent's trying to do like some super aggro strategy, you need your recovery. Maybe you have Scythe. Maybe they have a counter rune. You know the counter rune's not shield, so you get Trident. Hephaestus is good for tutoring, and then Poseidon is good because you can just ramp with Poseidon. It can be an aggro Poseidon where you drop it on something to hit their face harder, or you can Nexus over to something and then pass stuff around with Aphros for drawing. Poseidon gets you faster somewhere, or you survive a turn with like a Foamy in play. You go Poseidon onto Foamy, and go to Majesty. Poseidon's good that way, and then the other two are just like, oh, I give you attack buffs, woo.
Okay,
I'll just play War Might instead.
Let me reiterate: a lot of the effects that say Nexus aren't worth Nexusing for.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like Circle the Sky. Like you literally just said, Circle the Sky. Like
okay, so no, Circle the Sky, yes, but if we talk the cycle of the 5 Nexus creatures.
Oh yeah, all of those are useful. All of those are useful objectively.
All of them are like Equilinks. I've played Equilinks as like, oh, I need something in Earth to destroy runes. I've been playing Equilinks, and it's just like, I'm just blowing up every backline I go against with Equilinks. It's insane.
Yeah, I agree. All of those are useful. But I mean, the effects that trigger when you're Nexused onto though, I don't think those.
Yeah, they're not as good. Like Clovey, not as good. Ash Rabbit, maybe.
Cinder.
Clovey, if it weren't for the fact that it says very specifically Earth, I think that Clovey would actually be really good. If it just said when this card becomes enchanted.
Yeah.
I would genuinely.
What hurts Clovey is its 2/2 stat line.
No, I don't even think it's the 2/2 stat line. I think it's the fact that like because otherwise you could Poseidon onto it. Otherwise you could there's just other plays you could make if it were.
Yeah, like playing Ash Rabbit instead.
Yeah. No, but yeah, no, like I Nexus onto my Cinder, dude. I love being able to mill 9 cards in one turn.
Yeah,
I play Cinder. Cinder
that
on
will
turn
be better,
1.
but right now it's not enough.
Right now.
No, play Cinder on turn 1. Kinleo on turn 2 with a Hephaestus on board. Circle of the Sky. Mill.
Right now, when you tell me mill 9 cards, I hear Pandison has targets in discard pile.
Okay, listen.
Like,
that's very relevant.
I mean, that's what I hear when you say.
I don't know. I hear mill 3 Majesties. That's all I hear.
I hear give Stratomath power. I hear give Pandison targets.
Well, no. So the thing
who's playing Stratomath?
Yeah, who's playing Stratomath when Nimbugs and Siracoons are in the freaking
I mean, it's a simple fact of the matter. Like if you
time out.
Stratomath. While we're on it, before we go away, Stratomath might be playable based on what Dan said earlier today.
Yes.
What did he say earlier?
Dan's looking at giving Stratomath a rune wipe instead of one single rune.
Okay, yeah.
So
which makes Stratomath infinitely more playable.
That would be
when it's
insane.
played, it bounces all runes.
At what point?
That happens, it's infinitely more playable.
At what point does it activate? Can I Gorgon's Gaze it? Is the thing that would make that?
No, it's like Sluggle.
So in my opinion, it should be when you either special ascend or ascend for turn the Stratomoth. But he also might just reward it where you can disenchant it like it is current. Is it disenchant or expend?
Because that's
currently, I don't remember. But
what is gonna make or break the card will literally determine on when I can Gorgon Gaze it.
What I think, if Dan really wants to make the 3rd Ascension scary and something to work for, the way Stratomoth should read is that when this card is special ascended, bounce all of your opponent's runes to their hand.
Destroy.
Yep. That's honestly keeping. No,
I
don't bounce the hand.
No, I think bounce.
Make it worth going into Stratomoth.
Because
bouncing everything's worth.
Bouncing is everything because they still break the spirits. You have to make them spend spirits again.
Unless you're only bouncing counter runes.
That's
fine. Then you're opening the board.
Then you're opening your board,
and then they still have to answer Stratomoth after, rather than just having the rune already in play to get rid of your 7.
So it's like, because 9 times out of 10 that card's getting earthquaked, boom batted, God knows what else.
As every other boss celestial does anyway.
Yeah, as every other boss celestial. But if that
Opening
bounces,
the board for a turn is relevant.
yeah, if that bounces to your hand, think about it like this, right? If you have a stadium on field, if you have a god on field, and if you have a artifact on field, which a lot of decks are doing right now,
You get a lot of value out of it.
that's like 7 spirits just
And
gone.
Shreddamoth is killing whatever creature's on board
Yep.
at that point if you bounce everything else.
I
Yep.
think
Even if it's like a Valkyrie's, well, Valkyrie's just lost all of its power.
Because it's also future proofing. If it's destroying those runes,
future proofing would make sense.
yeah.
That's
I'd
a
rather
that's a
not
much
get-
better argument than just bounce, because like I think a lot of like the difference is you guys are playing decks that value artifacts. Like you guys are playing decks that value using your spirits to play the cards in your hand, whereas I'm valuing a lot of cards where it's just like I don't want to lose life with the risk of my stuff just getting P-gusted. Because like if my opponent plays a P-gust, like I mean like it's just situations like that where it's like I'm not valuing cards where it's like I have the risk of the card just outright being destroyed unless they're applying pressure.
I guess. Yeah.
So I mean I think that's just the difference here is like I'm thinking of cards in terms of like I want the aggro, I want the pressure, I want to apply what I can, and you guys are like playing decks where it's like, okay, we're playing combo now. We want this combo set up, we want to have this board going, we want a board state. Whereas I'm more of like
Well, you're playing.
I think
you're
it's
playing the
just
rush.
you're playing
That's
aggressive,
how it goes.
well, no, I think it's just a difference in deck building. Because I mean, like you guys will like a lot of like see how I see it, right? How I see the game with my life total, right? If I play a card, like if I enchant a card, I've already lost the life, right? But at the same time, while that card is on the board, the harder it is to remove that card, the harder it is for me to actually inherently lose the life. The life is still there until that card is gone.
No, yeah,
that's completely fair.
That's completely fair.
So any card that can just like be popped like with a P-gust, because like if my opponent's playing Aeolus, right, they have the ability to search out their P-gust and they could just pop my Hammer of Hephaestus, for example, right? Why would I put 2 life on a card that can be removed via a card that can be searched so easily?
Right. Well, that's when it comes down to when do you play those cards, and you don't play your artifacts just to be like, oh, herder, here's 2 extra power. You play those artifacts when it's relevant. Like if you know your opponent has a Kindly in hand, you play your Hammer down with the Hephaestus. If you know your opponent has a bunch of counter runes that can affect your card, you play your Trident. Well, it's all about the timing of it.
And I think it's just a different. I think it's just a different mindset. Though. I don't think
or you do something with that.
I think right now, I think where we're currently sitting in this vacuum, pressure is what you're playing.
Yeah.
That, like everyone at home, if genuinely, like I said before, if you want to play competitive and you want to like not lose, play as much pressure as humanly freaking possible.
Deck profile going live Monday. What's up?
Or Rhinoceros.
Yeah, or
yeah, or play decks that just remove pressure.
Or decks that just stop.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're playing.
But then again, you also have to keep in mind that if you're playing decks that just stop pressure, you have to have a way to apply pressure to the deck that you're stopping.
No, yeah.
You cannot just go like, okay, I'm going to play 3 Earthquakes, 3 Pandasin to get back the Earthquakes, 3 Tsunami, I'm going to play... You have to have a way to stop the pressure. You can't just go like, oh...
You're not playing 27 counter runes pass.
Yeah. You have to be able to apply pressure back to the pressure deck.
What I will say is, after... In November, when we get the rest of the set...
It's going to be like June.
No. When we
get the cards now,
we get the cards now. Yeah. So when that hits, like we did it. There's 82 cards, right? That we don't know what they are. 81 now that we've seen.
Every single card is gonna shake up the game.
We have 83 of 125. No,
Currently?
sorry, we have 83 of 100. We have 83 cards of 125 of them are spirits. So we're missing 37 cards.
37
which
cards.
Is still a third of the set.
And every single one of those cards is going to have an impact on the meta.
Look how much this card that Dan dropped today, the 2/4 Thunder, non-Thunder can't attack. Like that's already shaken so much up because that card does so much.
What I was saying to that is, oh, my cat? Yeah, she's right here. Hi, baby. This is Merlin. She's a baby. Yeah. But my point to that is how many of those 30-something odd cards are runes? Right?
Yeah.
How many?
And some of them might not even be relevant.
Well, I mean, we know there's 80 Elestrals in the main set.
Yeah.
So that would mean there'd be around 40. There'd be around 40 runes total.
So 40 runes total. Okay. And then how many of them are counter runes?
Yeah.
How many of them are artifacts? How
Dan
many of
has
them
said
are?
that there's a counter rune that he's like super excited for us to see still. So
Your head's a die.
Johnny not have a
No,
pet.
no, no, no.
Oh, you don't have a pet.
My dog's not here. My dog's at my mom's house.
Oh. But yeah, no. So it's like it runs into that thing of like right now, yeah, pressure's great until we get those 20 odd counter runes, and then it's like 3 shield, 1 wheelbarrow. I don't know. You know,
Oh,
like
Dan has said also that there's a water card that when it drops is going to shake up water, and
yeah.
that seems a little like overzealous. But Dan has also said the card that he was dropping today was going to shake up stuff, and it's going to shake up stuff.
Yeah,
so
no, I genuinely think that I'm gonna have to rework my entire aggro deck that I made. But then again, I also think that like
well, you also might just never run into Thunder Control. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, I still
This
think
I'm
the
gonna
pressure's-
play. I'm gonna play discard till I die.
'Cause-
I'm gonna live and die on this shitty hill.
I love it. I'm gonna build it. I'm gonna build it tonight or today. It's
Oh yeah, you did the list for that, didn't you, Wirt?
for which deck?
Tech for Apple.
I don't have the deck list, but I
Oh,
can if you. Yeah,
I can send
unfortunately
it. I
don't.
thought you did it.
but I stick by the strong
I didn't get
statement.
the deck list from you.
I stick
But
by the
if you
strong.
send me the deck list, I can.
I stick by the
Actually,
strong
I
statement
have
that electric is like literally going to be one of the most toxic, cancerous decks in the format, and I cannot wait to play it. Like,
Yes, yes. It
Like-
is. Electric is gonna be the blue in Magic.
it's funny too, because like I'd only seen like half the cards, but like the second I saw Ampup, I was like, this deck is cancer. I was like, this deck is objectively
I actually don't like
cancer.
Amp Up. I don't like the
No,
Amp Up.
okay, so
like,
so
like
what
in
you
I
Rift,
don't
whatever.
think Amp Up is good. I don't
No,
think
I think-
the Amp Up Mega Vault stuff is good.
no, so no, you discard Ampuff, and then you immediately have 2 discard targets for Apple of Discord. It's not so much.
Okay, I
It's not
see
so
what
much
you're
the
saying.
fact that it's not so much
I
the fact
didn't
that,
think of that.
it's not so much the fact that Ampuff is in itself good. It's the fact that Ampuff is so bad. It's better in the discard pile.
That's fair. That's a good fact. I didn't think of
What
that.
Amp Up kind of does is
And then like
one
and
expend to draw 2. Now you might not want to play those.
you
2,
don't
but
expend. You just discard. You discard Ampuff to search out 2
You have to
Ampuff from
expend
You have to
one.
expend
You have to
one.
expend one
You have
to
to expend-
do
okay.
the.
Well, but
draw.
still-
Yeah, you took someone like
You expend 1 to thin your deck by 2, and then any time that you pop,
you have Apple targets.
I don't
Yeah.
think that thinning is worth the 1 though. You
deck
have
thinning
to
is
have.
totally worth the 1.
I think it's worth the 1 if you're playing Apple.
Yeah, if it's
If you're
worth the
playing
1 if you're
Apple,
playing
yeah,
Apple.
because you have the discard ability.
Yeah, if
now.
you're-
Yeah,
if
and,
playing
that's
Apple, yes.
that's the whole point of Ampuff is it's a discard target for Apple so that Lycan gets its effect to get extra
Yeah.
power so it can destroy
I'm-
stuff.
That's
I'm gonna
completely
start
fair.
calling it. I'm gonna start calling it Gapple, like from Minecraft, because it's a golden apple,
Oh god.
and that is my life now.
It's
But
an
I
actual
would like to
mythological. It's a
I would like
mythological
to see
fruit.
that Thunder
Moxie.
discard.
Gapple,
I hate
the
you.
Gapple. Yeah, I might have to check that in.
No,
I
the
would-
worst
See how that
part is
plays.
you have so much influence. People are gonna start calling it that. So
Let's call it Gapple.
now when I'm
Let's
gonna
go.
now when I'm in a
We got
Discord
Nog and
call,
Gapple.
no.
I mean, we call it Shield of Achilles just Shield. Like it's
Shield,
not like it
Laurel.
tests away.
Dart. We
Laurel.
poison arrow. We literally call it dart.
Dart or
Like-
poison, yeah. Like we'll make our words as we go.
Yeah, and the words will
Like
create.
no one says earthquake, everyone just says quake.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. I think that's what's so interesting about trading card communities is the names that they come up with for different cards. I know in Force of Will, we had a card called Lowly Spirit Bug, and we just called it Jitterbug. That's all we
Yeah,
did.
in Magic you have Bob, you have Steve, you have Gary.
Yeah.
And in Pokemon, there's an old deck that's called PDA, Palkia Dialga Arceus, and it's just PDA.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Naming stuff's fun.
Oh,
And then in
that's my cat. It's stupid.
Yeah. Like I'd love to name like some of my like my Leolock deck something stupid and crazy like Steamworks or something, but it's like I'm just gonna call it for now just what it is. It's Leonite and it
Leonite.
locks. I'll
See,
just keep it simple.
my-
it's
my,
not Cheerios or Fruity Pebbles or
I mean
those are actual Magic meta decks from the past.
my aggro deck, I literally called it Penis because you will not be able to get the bad taste out of your mouth for the next 2 days.
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's not let's not get age restricted, please.
Hey, listen,
Listen, this isn't going up on our channel.
Yeah, no, this is on my channel. I'm okay. I'm okay with my channel like getting hit. Okay, like. But no, I genuinely. Plus, I don't have viewer retention, and we're an hour and 15 minutes into this, so. I think Moxie might keep people here because people love Moxie, and I get it, but I don't get it. She's so charismatic. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know. Just there's so many good cards that are just waiting to be good, and the meta's gonna get like if Dan releases, like not every card that Dan releases is gonna be shaking things up, but if Dan says a card's gonna shake things up, every card that he says is gonna shake things up has shaken things up.
If you guys are still here, say hi Merlin in the comment section, and Merlin gets one pet.
Oh God, no, Merlin.
400 pets later, Moxie loses his hand.
Dude,
Merlin,
her affection is bites, so it's like.
Okay, but yeah, no, I really think we should wrap this up because otherwise we're gonna be here for like another 30 minutes in this one video.
That's fair. We can always talk about stuff later on.
Yeah, no, I mean like we have other.
All right, guys. Oh, no,
Get the hell out of here! But first, subscribe to everybody.
Yeah. No.
Just go to YouTube. Just go to channels and just hit subscribe.
Yeah, you guys
go down the list until you get to us.
You guys seem more tired than me.
Dude, no, I'm out of it. I'm gonna watch Markiplier FNAF for the 700th time tonight. That's my life.
I'm probably gonna build some hand control.
Yeah, but before we completely sign off, I guess everyone just say a couple of quick sentences just to end it and get people to subscribe to you. Johnny, go.
I just mean.
Johnny, you failed. Moxie, go.
Yeah.
Moxie, you failed. Subscribe to me first, because these guys can't pander to themselves and save their lives.
Okay, no. I can do it. Okay, so
I can't.
Subscribe to me because a pizza's gonna come to the game, and when it does, I called it, and you guys want to be here for the call, for the predict, for the outplay. Dan's gonna do it, and he has no choice.
Is this the call that the same call that Triff is good? Because then it's not happening, unfortunately.
Hey, listen. I convinced Dan that Triff was so good it needed to be nerfed. Okay, like
this is when Johnny gets sent like a one of a kind Triff card that costs nothing, has like 30 attack, 30 defense.
Dude, did you see that Omega?
He will still lose the game every time. Because it says win the game for your opponent.
Yeah.
I'd still play it.
Dan just needs to make like the Triff Exodia card. This is you get Trifernal play and you have 2 more Trifernals in your deck, you win the game, and it still wouldn't see play.
Yeah, still be bad.
I would still try.
Thank you guys for watching today's video. If you guys did enjoy, hit the like button. So how this is gonna work is like Johnny was saying in the beginning of the video, there are gonna be different podcasts going up on each of our channels. Sometimes different players will come in, so it won't just be me, Johnny, and Wirtz. It might be Mula, it might be Red, it might be God knows who else. So just keep that in mind.
Oh, yeah, there's a new guy I need to reach out to.
Yeah.
Yo, maybe we should try to get Dan on here one day.
I mean, hey.
Dude, I genuinely think if we could like work our schedule with him, he'd probably try to.
Get him a 10-minute slot somewhere.
But yeah, so it'll go up and it'll be in different styles. So like I know I have a particular style for my videos, Wirtz has his style, Johnny has his style. So just keep that in mind when you guys go to our channels. They're not gonna look the same, but they are going to be the same and they're gonna be named the same. So keep that in mind.
My style is either full analytical or full memery.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you guys enjoyed, hit the like button. Lets us know that you guys enjoy these podcasts and that we are going to keep doing them. Hit the subscribe button for all of us because I'm 15 away from 100. So let's hit that big 100. And then where's your 25 away? How far?
44 away.
44
so
away.
I'll get there first. That's fine. Get me 100 before Moxie. And
I'd try.
I'll pull a tooth out.
Really quick, I do actually feel bad because like only 32 of my viewers are from ELESTRALS.
Hey man, that's fine.
So it
happens.
Yeah.
He cheated the system.
I mean, cheated. Bex has it before
I had a decent channel beforehand, and then I deleted everything because it's all Dauntless contest, rip game. But anyway, besides the point, I think we're spinning out here.
So yeah, we're headed out. So Johnny, this is your video, so do your outro.
Yeah, so the podcast just happened. Deuces, everybody.